Hey, it's your guy Ren. Welcome to Cinema Slime, a podcast for film lovers who can't stop talking about the movies that move us, confuse us, or just make us want to yell at the screen. I'm joined, as always, by my brilliant co-hosts Harrison and Scott. Let's go.
So I've been showing my kids some Halloween movies, and I've got a good set of just like fairly kid friendly. They're just Halloween movies that I really like. And I've always watched. One is the like 1929 Disney short called Haunted House. Like Iwerks, like original cartoon, and it's like got the skeleton in the costume, and he like lifts it up and he's like hit the screen and everything. It's very like, oh, it's a talkie synced up like music and video together. And yeah, I quote it all the time, like Mickey is like, yes, ma'am. And stuff. It's just funny.
Oh, I haven't seen this movie, but I like this little screenshot I'm seeing of the skeletons. Yeah.
I don't know the history behind it, but I can't seem to find a copy of Disney's Legend of Sleepy Hollow anywhere. But it's like Ichabod Crane and Bones. Like it's narrated by Bing Crosby, and it's great. I love it. I've watched that at least once every year since I was born. Like it's my movie, and I love it.
If you have Disney Plus, or I can send you my login, it's on there, because I think me and Jamie actually sat down and watched it. It's got the Ichabod Crane story, but it's also attached to another movie. Like
the Adventures of Mr. Toad or something like that.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah, because we watched the Adventures of Mr. Toad, and man, that show is man.
I've actively avoided watching it because of like, what are you doing attaching yourself to my Sleepy Hollow?
Yeah, what is that?
I love it.
But I'm looking for a place to fit in Tim Burton's Legend of Sleepy Hollow or Sleepy Hollow.
Mm-hmm.
I like that movie quite a bit. It's like I have no problem with Johnny Depp, but it's actually my least favorite part of that movie. But everything else about it is great. Like I love everything else about it. And he's fine. It's just like he's the weird part of the rest of the amazing movie.
What's the slimiest scene of that movie that comes to your mind right away?
There's a scene where the headless horseman cuts off one of the governor's heads.
Yeah.
And it just like rolls down the hill and lands to Johnny Depp's lap. And it's like, it's so good.
I think of when they're cutting the tree and the tree is full of heads. That part is so gross.
The other one is when they all run into the church to be on like sacred ground to avoid the evil spirit or whatever. Yeah. And the horseman's just like riding around the fence of the little church house. And then he like grabs like a fence post, ties it to a tree or like a rope, like a harpoon, and throws it through the window to get what I think it's Van Tassel or whatever, and like pulls him out across the yard. It's so good.
Dude, okay, so help me remember. So is this the one where the headless horseman, like you actually have his head and his teeth are filed into points? Is that
yes.
Is that what?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I've seen it. It was forever ago. I barely can remember it. Even like talking about those scenes, I can't even remember it. But I just remember his head and his teeth being filed down, and that really wigged me out.
Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's terrifying in that.
Old Prussian army.
Yep.
What about what are these movies that you've been on? I saw you post a short about one, and it looks really cool. Like I kind of want to watch it now.
Yeah, so I've watched a few bangers lately. It's funny, I have two like new favorite like Halloween themed movies in the past, like one right after another. I watched them with my boys and they freaking loved it, but we watched John Carpenter's The Fog. Dude, I haven't had like an awesome horror like film experience in a while. Like, just like you're like it's brand new. You're like around every corner, you're just like waiting for the next scene. I don't know, I was really into it, and so were the boys. It was like 20 minutes into it, Cash, my oldest boy, he looks over me, he's like, this is really good. And I was like, yeah, we're in, let's do this. And we loved it. That is an incredibly good movie. And
I've never seen it, but I've heard literally nothing bad about it.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis, which blew my mind. It's like right around the era of Halloween. I think it was like maybe a few movies after, where she's just in these like really low budget like horror films from 70s, 80s. It was great. I highly recommend it. And have either of you guys seen Hubie Halloween? Okay, it's
No.
Adam Sandler's Halloween movie. Anyways, there's a reference taken from The Fog that's in that movie. And for those who have seen it, you might recognize the radio voice, the female voice talking over the radio throughout the whole movie. And I won't spoil it, but yeah, the Hubie Halloween version is really funny. And then we're short on time, but I just have to say I watched Suspiria for the first time, 1977 version. Just gorgeous, bloody gore. It was so cool.
That was the one. I saw the short you made, and I was like, that looks like a real trip. Like I kind of want to see it and be terrified during the whole thing.
I never heard of it. So you're like, I just watched Suspiria, and I happened to be like on YouTube when that like notification showed up. So I typed in Suspiria, and it brought up Olga's Death, Suspiria 2018, and I was like, boop, like, what am I? No context. This girl's just dancing herself into a pretzel. I was like, what's happening?
Yeah. But I've heard it holds up. It's just as good, or maybe a little bit better in some areas. But yeah, mind blowing. It was really, really pretty.
This summer, Walt Disney Pictures presents a motion picture fantasy adventure beyond your fondest imagination. You'll be transported miraculously back to the enchanted land of Oz, that magical kingdom beloved by young and old for generations.
It's just a yellow brick.
No, Billina, you don't understand. This was the yellow brick road.
You'll share with Dorothy Gale the shock of finding everything mysteriously changed.
What's happened to everybody?
And you'll delight with her discovery of 4 wonderful new friends who band together against a wicked queen and the dreaded Nome King. This is the Oz you haven't seen before, and this is the Oz you'll want to visit again and again. From Walt Disney Pictures comes a whole new world of entertainment.
Why don't we just fly back to Kansas?
Return to Oz.
Okay, well here, let's jump into this movie then. So Scott, this movie was on your list of childhood trauma for this theme. Why don't you tell us about the first time you watched it, what your experience was watching it now as an adult, and what traumatized you about it? What with a little t, with a lowercase t, let's not forget that.
Man, I don't know how old I was. I mean, I had to have probably been somewhere between like 5 and 7 or something like that when I saw this. And I don't know if I watched past the middle part of the movie because I don't recognize anything in the second half. Anything basically from the Gump flying on. Everything before that is just like uncomfortable. And I couldn't even remember the heads. I just remember there was something about a witch and like faces or heads or something like that. And I remember the Wheelers. The Wheelers really, really bothered me. This is another one where I'm like, oh, I'm glad that this movie was as uncomfortable as I remember. Like I've seen rated R movies that were not as uncomfortable as this movie. It's like somehow they just like dialed it back just enough to get a PG rating before PG-13 really existed. I think that's my guess. So it was kind of like edgy PG-13.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. But then they didn't have that rating, so it wasn't quite rated R. It didn't like check all of the F word boxes or something like that. And they're like, but you know, it's Wizard of Oz. We can't make that rated R. You know, so then it was just like really uncomfortable and like dark.
Dude, I'm telling you, so lots of times when I watch a movie like this that's based in like a world where it's like, oh, like this movie's based on a book, there's a previous movie to it, there's this whole world that's built out. Usually in my head I'm like, oh, now I want to like get a list of all the movies and all the books together so I can like sit down and dive deep into it at some point. That'd be really cool. For Wizard of Oz, I do not care about that world because it really wigs me out like a lot. Like it really is strange. I enjoy the Wicked movie and I'm really excited for the sequel coming out, but everything else about it, I'm just like, it's such a strange place. And this film definitely really cemented that that feeling of like, I don't really want to know more about it, which is interesting. I was just going through a bunch of comments on Reddit just to kind of see what people are thinking about it and stuff like that. And a lot of people comment, they're like, actually, Return to Oz is the way more accurate version of the books that Frank L. Baum, I believe is his name, wrote. And, and yeah, so that instantly made me go like, I'm all right. I don't need to read the books. I'm okay.
I can vouch for that because me and my son, we were at some thrift store and we found a copy of one of the books in the series. I think it was, I can't remember which one, but I was like, oh, cool. This will be interesting because he loves The Wizard of Oz. So we got it. I think we made it 20 pages in. And it's very similar to this movie. You're just like, where's all the familiar characters? Like, what? I think the one I don't even know if Dorothy was in the one we were reading. So it just felt completely out of context. And it like just meandered and slithered through nothingness. And we were just, I
So
totally clued
Put that
out.
down pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you guys do any research into Frank L. Baum at all in prepping for this episode? I did not.
Yeah, I didn't either. Like I said, I just finished the movie last night, just time constraints and things like that. I think I tried to do a little bit of background research just on the film itself, like some of the behind the scenes stuff. I actually watched if you go to YouTube and you just type in Return to Oz Adam Savage, there's a whole clip of him inspecting Tik-Tok Man, hit the actual prop of him.
Cool.
It is really, really cool. Like it's
That's
really cool to like they take it apart, they look on the inside of it, they look at all the different the way the mechanical arms work, the way the eyes worked. It's really, really cool. But no, in terms of Frank L. Baum, I didn't.
I was like, is that like a person inside that suit walking around? It didn't really walk like it was.
So you ready for this? So there is a guy in there, kind of like an R2D2 type of situation. It was a contortionist. I believe his name was Martin L something, like Martin Lomez or something like that. And he was basically in there folded basically in half, and to walk forward he actually had to walk backwards, so he was facing the other way during this whole time. What they had to do was he was there working at it, and he could last inside of it about an hour. Then they would have to take him apart and let him breathe and like actually like get some air in there. They would take it off, and it was like a steam bath in there every single time they had to do it. But yeah, no, there's an actual guy in there working everything. But minus, I think minus the eyes and the mustache. I thought it was funny his mustache moved in like little individual things. But yeah, I believe that part was all remote control. But the actual body was a real person.
So Harrison, this was your first viewing of the movie.
Yeah, this is my absolute first viewing. I've never even saw the cover of this, and it blew my mind. I saw the cover of the film, or the cover of the movie, and I believe it's when they're on that like makeshift couch thing, and they have the head of a moose on the front, and they're like flying through the air. And it's supposed to, I don't know, for some reason I'm like, wait, that's the image you're using to make it look like a kid's film, because this does not. This is so demonic and. Like I would say this movie is just a straight up fever dream throughout it. I think it's got a few interesting themes and a few interesting themes, and I think the costuming is absolutely incredible. I think they did a just phenomenal job on it. But the actual storyline of it is just out of this world bonkers to me. Like I can't believe it.
So I want to know kind of like what's your overall take, and then I kind of want to talk about the things that I liked about it. Like,
Me too.
I was surprised about. Well, yeah, we'll talk about it in a little bit. What was your take on it?
So I remember kind of catching wind of this because I remember it was like advertised on TV that they were going to like premiere it on some channel. And I remember just being like immediately turned off. So I never got around to it until recently. It was funny. I was just looking at my notes and I can just remember the first thing that comes up on the screen once the movie starts playing is Walt Disney, but it's like this green color. I'm like, right away, this feels off. Like this is a kooky, weird, like malnutritioned, like creature of a Disney movie. Like it just feels like silly and strange and uncomfortable, like everyone kind of says about this movie. Yeah, once things get going, I found myself pretty intrigued. I kind of like when movies kind of go into that darker realm, but this one felt it's just like nasty. It was like what you're talking about, like with the costumes and the special effects. Like I found myself like you're kind of like cringing, but then like you kind of take notice of the detail and you're like, it's actually really impressive.
like you mentioned the mustache on TikTok, and I was like, oh, I like that. And then like his eyes are like those weird deep glass like submarine lights,
Mm.
and they have just these little tiny little details peppered throughout. And I'll go over a little bit later, but I wrote things I liked about basically every character because there's lots to not like, but I want to focus on what I really like.
No, yeah, like even Jack, the big pumpkin guy head, like honestly, the more I kept looking at it, I was just like, wait, this is like an actual costume. This is an actual thing on screen. Like, it's not like this weird CGI thing or something that strange. It's an actual costume, and I love seeing that. Okay, I'm gonna turn my
Yeah, like they probably failed over and over and over trying to get it look right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then they finally get it to look decent, but like we don't see all the time like all the failures that went into that. Like when he is reaching his hands through the window to open the door, I was like, oh my god, that must have been horrifically like tedious to put that arm together. And the way it actually grabs onto the handle and turns it, I was like, wow, bravo, like props.
They went for it.
Yeah, just on the same note, just because I'm thinking about it, but at first glance, Gump, the moose head, I hate that thing. But you start to admire like the details around the nose. And then there's one scene where like I forget there's some sort of struggle, and whoever was working the eyes blinking on Gump, like mic drop, like did it perfectly. It looked real. And I
Yeah.
rewound it a few times. I was like, well done.
Dude, I think the main thing about him I found just really disturbing. It was just like, hold on, you just sprinkled this powder on him. He's now like this sentient thing who doesn't have a body, and you attached him to a couch. Now he's
Yeah.
flying them across the desert. And then when they fall out of the sky, you're like, wait, what's gonna happen to this moose head? And then it lands, they attach it to the couch, and I'm just like, this is such a weird, like
I feel like what you just said right there describes the entire uncanny valley of this movie. It's like take the innocence of a 10-year-old girl, have her do horrific things, but make them like take that to its logical conclusion. It's like you have to deal with the fact that you created this Frankenstein's monster
Yeah.
that now is like going to live and deal with the fact that you were just like, oh, I know how to get out of this castle. How do I piece things together? And then it's like this unholy, ungodly behemoth demon from hell trying to fly with like this sweet little Eeyore brain flying out of the. I was like, what is happening in this movie?
That is from the book, right? Gump is
Yes,
okay.
Gump- yeah.
If the director just peppered that in for no reason, I'd be really annoyed. But if it's from the book, I'll accept it.
I just really like the fact that like just that you talked about it, Scott reminded me, it's like she planned all this out, and actually when I was writing, when I was taking notes, I literally wrote down like, wait a minute, are they gonna fly out of here on this couch? Like I was like, wait, what's the moose head? I'm like, no, actually, no, this is what I thought was gonna happen. She was looking at the moose head and she was talking to the witch. I can't remember her name. It starts with an M.
Mombi.
Mm.
Mombi.
So what I thought was gonna happen was I thought she was gonna take that moose head, put it on the couch, and then like trip her, and she was gonna fall, and her head was gonna get attached to the moose. And I thought that's how they were gonna like beat her and like defeat her. Was like, oh, we'll just stick a moose head on top, like that'll do it.
I have one question that I haven't had time to because I was going to do this maybe later tonight, tomorrow, or the next day. But since we're doing this now, sorry again. So the creepy doctor and they're sitting there. They've got Dorothy tied, strapped down. They put the electric things on her head, and like the countdown is coming, and they're about to like blow her brains out and lobotomize her. But then lightning strikes, and the power goes out. Did that happen, or is she dead? Like, is this
You cracked open the can.
I spent some time thinking about this, and a lot of people online say, like, yeah, she probably died, and Oz isn't a real world. This is in her mind. A lot of people are talking about it being like a sort of purgatory, and that she went to this purgatory place, and then there's the other little girl that returns back to it, and then so that she can return back to her body, things like that. For me personally, I sat down and thought about it. I was like, look, it's an interesting thought to have, but I don't think it really adds much to the story. Like, I feel like it kind of cheapens the rest of it. It's like, oh yeah, it was all a dream. It's like, okay, I don't really care about that. So So I'm in my head, I'm kind of like, no, like she actually went to this place. It just makes it a little more, I don't know, worth it, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah, no, as you say that, I think you're right because the whole Wizard of Oz was already in her head, so she's not going to go in her head again.
I think this was an interesting choice by the scriptwriters and director. I don't know what I think about it. Okay, so this movie was based on 2 of the books. I think it's the Great Land of Oz and Ozma of Oz.
Yep.
Yes. Yes, that's what it is.
It takes elements from both books and kind of combines it into one thing. So all of the elements in the movie are all there in the books, except for the whole Kansas stuff. So the whole insane asylum sanatorium place and the electrotherapy and stuff, that was all added in just for the movie. Now there is a little bit, I think, in the in Ozma of Oz, that story follows Dorothy. She's the main character, and she and her uncle Harry, or Henry, or whatever, fall off, or traveling to Australia, and she falls off the boat and then wakes up in Oz with Billina, her chicken. It's a similar, like, she's in the water, she drowns, ? And then at the end of the book, when she comes back from Oz, she wakes up on a shore and she's found again. So that, like, is this real or not thing is kind of in the book. I like there's so many symbolic things in this movie that I don't think actually have any answers. I think that they're just like there to haunt my dreams forever. I think that's the only reason they exist. So, okay, so this movie can't be looked at in isolation. You have to like look at the books, and you also have to look at the original movie because it's this weird blend of the two. And so the first movie is like this really sanitized virtue version of Frank L. Baum's bizarreness. And so it's not anything like the book. It's sweet, it's cute, and all the wicked stories and stuff are based off of the movie, not the books. So it's like this split timeline multiverse thing going on with Wizard of Oz. But
yeah.
The way that they portrayed that was Dorothy goes to Oz and comes back because her house gets caught up in a tornado, and most likely she wasn't actually in Oz. That was kind of the like, how are we gonna do this and make it palatable for a movie audience on like TV broadcast or whatever. So that gets like transferred over to this movie where they try to mimic that same thing. But the first movie was so light and like it was weird, but it was like Disney level of like Alice in Wonderland. Like it just wasn't that dark. It was just weird elements, and let's kind of play on them a little bit. Mm-hmm. But this movie, it's like they lean way into the weirdness of Frank L. Baum while still going like, well, how do we get her to and from Oz? And so then all of the like evil doctors and headmistress and like the people pushing the carts, the beds in the sanatorium are all the characters in Oz. It's almost like this facade of depth on top of everything, but then it might actually be real depth. It's like it depends on if you want to look at this as a psychological horror or as a kid's adventure. I'm kind of leaning more towards the psychological horror, but it makes the movie really freaky that they packaged it as a kid's adventure. Like it bothers me either way.
I think it's just more that it's advertised as a kid's adventure. I think that's the main thing that kind of throws me off the most. So you were talking about how, the characters from the real world and the Oz are kind of the same. I just wanted to go through the connections real quick because I want to make sure I kind of hit them all. So I know like the Wheelers, freaking terrifying, by the way. Oh my God. So the Wheelers are kind of like the nurses, and when they're pushing around the patients throughout the sanatorium. I think that's where that comes from.
You can hear the wheels squeaking.
Yeah, as they're moving. Yeah. No, it's that. No, I think oh my gosh. Anyways, I'm getting shivers. Then the witch is the main head nurse. The doctor in the real world is the Nome King, I believe. And then the electric machine, actual machine, is Tik-Tok. I'm trying to think if there's another one. I don't know if there's another one that I can make a connection to the real world to Oz.
No, I don't think so. Those are the main ones that I had.
Yeah, those are the main ones. I don't know if there's something for Jack or the moose.
Well, wait.
That I'm like, I don't know.
The most important question in my mind is she brings Billina the chicken.
Mhm.
And then when she comes back, Billina stays.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Their chicken's
That's-
gone for good.
Yeah. This
well,
throws everything
yeah.
out.
Okay, no, honestly, because I was just about to say, it's like, well, also there's the mirror connection, but it's like, well, that could be, in her head as well. But the chicken, that's the key. The chicken is the key.
Man,
Anyways,
deleted scene. Where's the chicken?
where's the chicken? I just want to know where the chicken is. That whole real quick. Did you guys catch? Apparently, it's in the movie. Apparently, but I missed it. Did you catch the reason why the egg killed the Gnome King at the end?
No. Okay. All right.
Wait,
no.
we got to talk about this. We have to.
Okay.
Talk about
Take it away, Ren.
Well,
I have something to say about this too.
you probably have something way deeper. I just wanted to point out the foreshadowing of the egg
Yeah.
because in like the
Okay,
first
tell me.
5 minutes, she's like talking to the chicken. Like she doesn't know the chicken talks yet, but she's just like, "Oh, when are you gonna start laying eggs? Auntie's gonna get mad at you or something." And then it's not mentioned till the very end, until you see the egg fall in the Gnome King's mouth. And I was like,
So
"Oh
good.
my god!" Like I clapped. I was like, "I love those subtle hidden foreshadows that you don't pay any mind to until it happens."
Those are the best. No, I think I have a midway point between you and Scott. For me, I was thinking about it and I was like, this has got to mean something. The egg represents life. It means rebirth. It means something. And it's destroying this big evil rock monster that's trying to take over and destroy Earth. Maybe there's something there. And then apparently in the movie, it mentions that these gnome creatures are allergic to eggs. Like it's just a food allergy or something.
Funny.
And so
I
it's
did not
literally
catch
just
that.
like, no, just that's why they're trying to get the chicken because the chicken's going to lay an egg, which could potentially kill the Gnome King. And that's why they're always yelling like, she has a chicken and they're freaking out that she has one.
So I don't remember that being in the movie either. Like if we find it, like when you're going through and trying to make shorts or something and you find it, like
Yeah.
please put that
Point
in
it out.
because I want to know where it is.
I will say this, that was just from Reddit comments. And when I was Googling, they were like, yeah, it's in the film. It's, it says it here. And I'm like, I didn't hear it. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention because I was just dumbstruck by this film. But
But it is in the book. I did read online that it is in the book.
Okay.
Like the Gnome King,
yeah.
gnomes are eggs are poison to gnomes. Okay, so it is like lifted from the book and put in there. Here's a weird thing between the first movie and this one. Both movies are resolved. The evil villain is killed accidentally by Dorothy. So in the first movie, she just accidentally throws some water on the witch and melts her. And then she's suddenly like hailed as this amazing, like, yeah, ding dong, the witch is dead and all that jazz, right?
Mhm.
And in this movie, it's like they're gonna get straight up like Toy Story 3'd into the like smelter and and then like the chicken poops an egg and then it's like done. I want to know, is there some sort of like symbolism behind what that means for Dorothy? Is that like, does that absolve Dorothy of doing anything? Like, does that like make her like a weak person that she isn't able to save her friends, but that accidentally it happens? Like I'm pulling like a Harrison in Paris, Texas on this one. Like, I feel like there's way more depth in what these choices are because they're so non-traditional, like for a story. And I'm just absolutely thrown through for a loop going like, was that intentional or was it just like, like it was in the book, so we're gonna do it that way.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely felt like, oh, we just need a way to wrap this up. I'm going to be honest. Like when he got killed after eating that egg, I was just like, that's it? Like, all right. Like, okay, I guess that's it.
That sort of reminds me of the scene you were talking about when like you're like, how are they gonna escape? Oh, of course they get into the flying moose couch. Like, and there's no other way you could conceive how they get out of the situation. And that's how I felt in the end with the egg. Because I was like, what? I don't remember that little detail. Like, why would an egg go? But yeah, we could philosophize it a little more, but like maybe it's like when like the source of life goes into death and reincarnation. No, I'm just kidding.
The Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost always. The Holy Trinity pulls her out of purgatory through the
Passion of the Christ or something.
I love it.
know.
I love it. No, that was the trek I was going down, Ren. I was like, it's got to be something like when life goes into death, it conquers all or something like that. But anyway, I will say though, I actually really loved the effects of the rocks in this movie. Like
Freaking
I was
Yeah.
like I didn't get a time to research it. I want to
did.
watch it. I know
did it all.
you did. Oh, tell me please, because literally I was watching. I was like, this is good. Like it's not even. It doesn't even look cheap. It doesn't look dated. This looks amazing. I love it.
Like it makes me uncomfortable, but it is amazing.
Yeah.
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 No, I think it's because, and I agree with you. It was really cool to watch. It did have this uncomfortable feeling. Like two reasons. One, it felt very gravelly. Like it felt very like every time they moved. And then watching, like when the Nome King is telling like, hey, you need to go in this room to find your friend. And then it was like the rocks were shaped like hands, like trying to close the portal. Like that was, anyways. No, Scott, tell me. I want to know.
Yeah, okay, so all of the claymation effects were done by Will Vinton Studios. So I don't know if you've seen this name around. This is like a household name for me. I have my dumb holiday tradition movies that I watch every year and have basically since I was born. And there's this Christmas claymation musical, and it's like these two dinosaurs narrating like all of these Christmas carols, and then there's like claymation videos with each one. It's Will Vinton's Claymation Christmas. It's amazing. All right, go watch it. It's stupid. I'm gonna make you watch it. I'll send you a link on YouTube or something when it comes to Christmas.
Oh, I see it. No, he also does an Easter and a comedy of horrors.
So Will Vinton Studios was founded in the 70s here in Portland, and they worked through till 2005 when they went bankrupt and were through lots of legal shenanigans. The studio was rebranded as Leica, which is their first movie was, I believe, Coraline. So Will Vinton Studios has basically done California Raisins, everything claymation, just that like moldy, weird, like slap clay together. It's like, it's not the plastic, like polymer things like Nightmare Before Christmas and on, it's like the California Raisins or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer kind of like molded clay kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
So they were kind of like one of two or three main household claymation studios, and this was kind of their peak, was this movie. And so what they did was they had like a soft clay that they molded every frame into a new shot of that face to lip sync and stuff like that. Now the whole movie was being filmed in the UK, which I thought was funny. Kansas definitely does not look like Kansas. It looks like the UK.
Yes.
It was dreary and wet and green. And I was like,
That's not Kansas.
it doesn't look like Kansas anymore.
I don't know if a tornado can go through that.
So then they would take that footage of like the guy that was the doctor who played the Nome King. They would like record him recording, like doing the voices of his lines as the big rock monster. And they would send that footage to Portland, and then they would basically recreate all of those scenes and then like film it, and then they would composite it later. So it was like remote work, these two different studios working in parallel with each other. And I just think it's incredible how well it looks.
Yeah.
With it being like composited on top of stuff. I don't know. I thought that was like hands down the best set piece and effect in the whole movie. Like it was stunning.
Highly agree. I thought it was, really good.
I heard the last scene where he's kind of disintegrating. They had to redo that like multiple times. They just couldn't get it right. But the one they landed on was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think they did a pretty decent job at that end. I don't know. I just the image of him like slowly lowering the pumpkin jack into his mouth, and his mouth is like huge, like it's just giant and gaping open, and then that little egg just boom. Hey everybody, just popping in real quick. If you could hit that like and subscribe button, that would really help us out a lot. But either way, let's get back to the show.
Okay, can we talk about the witch heads?
Yes. No, I want to make sure we get that in because, okay, so my experience watching the witch heads was I was actually really fascinated by it more than terrified. I definitely saw, when I first saw it, I was like, I can see how this would traumatize people really badly.
That's exactly what I thought.
But it was really fascinating. I was like, wait a minute. So she just swaps heads. And then there's a line in the movie where it gives a hint that when she puts on a different head, she gets the memories of that head, which I thought was really intense. And I don't know, just the setup, like, I don't know, there's a handful of movies and TV shows where I'm like, I wish I was a part of this film in some way. And that scene made me go, "Ah, I wish I was part of the set decorating team to like get that hallway built and have all the individual heads in all these different cabinets." I thought that was really cool.
The fact that they're alive
Yeah,
and they just
no,
watch you.
dude, yeah, just like honestly, I was the first time you see a head like move its eyes like behind Dorothy's back, you're like, wait a minute. Then all I'm doing is just watching every head, trying to see if they're staring or if they're gonna make their eyes move or whatever. And then what is it? When she gets the powder, the living powder from the real heads cabinet, then all the heads start screaming and all that. That was
Yeah.
dude, that sent up a shiver up my spine like really badly. I was like, oh my gosh.
That is absolutely nightmare fuel.
That was the scene where I was like, I definitely never watched this as a kid. But I would have remembered that. I would have remembered that for sure. It's terrifying. And then she like runs past it and it tries to grab her. Yeah, it's pretty intense.
So I just want to like capture that entire sequence because it's incredible. All right? She needs a key. So she sneaks into Princess Mombi's room while she's asleep. She's in the middle of this giant room on like a 4-corner post bed. And there's this like body asleep without a head. And the key is tied around her wrist. All right. So freaky enough as it is, because not only that, but she's snoring, and it's like the most gnarly dad snore you've ever heard.
Dude, yeah, she needs a CPAP machine like real bad.
Just shove it down her neck.
Dude, you know what? You just made me realize, oh my gosh. So I knew that she didn't have a head and I knew that she was snoring, but I didn't make the connections like, wait a minute, that snoring is just coming out of her neck. That is that's so gross. That's so nasty.
So they have like a minor jump scare as she like takes the key away. You have to do that. Like duh. Of course you have to put that in there. And then Dorothy sneaks past all of these sleeping heads, which is like a freaking ticking time bomb. You just know it.
Yes.
Right? And it's like, when they wake up, what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
So then she opens up the correct one. You're like, okay, how is she gonna wake up this head accidentally? She knocks something over. The main witch head wakes up and is like, and then all of the heads just freaking scream. Just scream. They don't like rationally talk. They're just like the most unholy Medusa devouring mother Jungian archetype of just screaming at you. It was like, oh, this is horrible. And it wouldn't have worked if it was like guy heads. It's like all these beautiful women's heads screaming with rage.
Dude.
As she like runs down the hallway. I was like vomiting. It was so disturbing to me.
Dude, okay, man, another thing to go with that, just think about this, okay? So when she gets to Oz, there's all those stone statues everywhere. And one of them is all these women dancing in a circle, and they're all headless. Now, my thought process, I was like, oh, damn, that's kind of crazy. And then I was like, wait a minute. Okay, when did they lose their heads? I'm like, well, they're dancing, so not before. I'm like, so probably what happened was she went out there. They're stone right now, cut their heads off, then poured that living powder on the head, and then stuck them in a cabinet. Jesus, holy hell. Like, that is... Oh, man, that's demented. Okay.
Nuts. Did either of you guys, so Nurse Wilson / Mombi, did you guys recognize her, or does she look familiar to you?
Oh, Queen Beth Morta.
Okay, I didn't recognize her, but I lost my mind when I IMDb'd it, and I was like, what? No way!
You're all pigs!
No, that's
so
that's
good.
Jean Marsh. She is my favorite
Evil queen.
80s dark fantasy queen.
Yeah.
She does it so well.
She's the goat.
She is. Okay, so Ren has brought a good handful of half-baked theories into this podcast, and I think I'm a little jealous, so I want to do one of my own. Okay.
All right.
So I want to talk about Dorothy for a second. First off, why is she younger? Is she younger in this film? Is she supposed to be? Like,
good point.
I don't know. Like in Wizard of Oz, I would guess the youngest she could be is 15, right? But in this film, she's like 10, maybe.
Well, something like that. Yeah.
So I don't know if it's one of those like, oh, actually, like Dorothy was actually supposed to be 10, just Judy Garland just looks 15. I don't know if it was supposed to be that.
I think that's the real answer, but I want to know where you're taking this.
No, that's just a random thought I had. But to get into Dorothy, so I'm watching this movie and I'm just like, okay, what is Dorothy doing? Is she just like this ambling child just going around and say, okay, I'm just going to experience things and the camera happens to be following me. But as I'm watching, I'm like, okay, she's supposed to be the hero of this film because she's our main character and she's doing things. And as I was watching, I was like, okay, she's almost like she's like restoring Oz back to the way it was. She's sort of like this healer going around. She goes up to Jack and like reassembles him and tries to like turn him back into a living, functional thing or being. And like Jack's like calling her mom because she's taking care of everything. And then I think the big one, she finds Tik-Tok hidden away, in the secret passage. And as she goes up to him, she reads through the instructions. And I thought it was interesting the fact that there's 3 different functions on Tik-Tok to get him to work. You can turn one knob and it allows him to think. Then there's another knob that makes him being able to see, or at least like operate. And then there's another knob that lets him speak. And I thought it was kind of cool. It's like, oh, she's like giving this guy a voice. She's letting him actually think. And I thought it was interesting the fact that those are 3 separate knobs. So technically you could not turn on the thinking part of him and just let him talk and just let him operate. So I feel like it kind of put Dorothy on this, I don't know, like pedestal is not the right word, but it's just like, oh, like she's like quote unquote the savior of this place right now. Like she's giving people the voice, she's waking them up, allowing them to think and not just follow the narrative or however you want to say it. And I'm kind of running out of steam, Scott, so this is where I pass it on to you, right? Is that what I do? Is that how that works, Ren?
Yeah, that's what I do.
No, I think it actually kind of culminates into a quote that she has later on. What was it? Tik-Tok's like half operating. He's like speaking and moving around, but he's not saying anything coherent. And Jack says like, how can he be talking without being able to think? And Dorothy says, it happens all the time to people.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, whoa, all right. I see you, Dorothy. That was pretty good because that definitely does happen a lot.
Touche, Dorothy, touche.
Noted.
Pretty much.
So this is candidly the first movie that we've done for this show that I've watched twice. I usually don't need to. Like, it's just, for whatever reason, for the things I want to talk about, I already know what I want to talk about, right? Mm-hmm. But this time, like, I watched it and I was like, I had this thought. I was like, this movie is either the greatest facade of something deep, or there is something deep that I do not understand. And I still don't know the answer to that. I still have no idea whether this movie is like
double viewing
actually deep, or if it's like, what have I watched and am I looking for depth where there is none?
Yeah, that could be the case. Just based on the nightmare behind the scenes of how everything came into, like, the director like lost his mind. Like, the cameraman quit. There was like rights issues with MGM and the Red Slippers, and like, it's just like, after all is said and done, this is like the funniest thing, but like, it like bombed. Like, no one saw it in the theaters, and then they bring it out on VHS, and they had the balls to charge $79.99 for it. Like, that's really funny. I thought people were going to pay for that. But yeah, I know what you mean. I've only watched it once, and I feel like I should watch it a second time, but I don't know.
I don't want to.
Maybe the movie might just be half baked, but
I would say this. I think this kind of falls in the category for me where it's more interesting to talk about than it is to watch it. And to me, it's just like there's so many moments in the movie for me that just feel so like, oh, like we mentioned them before, like the egg killing the Nome King, the wrap up at the end, that them getting on a moose couch and flying out the window. There's a lot of moments where you're just like, okay, all right. Like, it's like, to me, it's not actually a very good movie, but I think it does have some interesting things in it, like themes and character archetypes, and I think like the costuming is definitely worth looking at, but it's not a very satisfying movie to watch, at least for me.
So it definitely has weird pacing and plot. for sure.
Yes.
I think maybe to correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost feels like you're watching it and you're like, okay, that was another thing that happened. Okay, that was another thing that happened. Okay, here's
Yes.
another thing that's happening. Like, it's like you keep expecting there to be like and then there was this because, but there's never any because. It's just, and thing happened. Moving on to, and then thing happened.
Okay, that is why when the egg happened, like the foreshadow, when I made the connection, like it blew my mind. I was like, oh wait, like
There's a thing.
yeah, something actually did like lead to an event. Because the movie is just like event after event. I don't know.
Well,
So
I wonder if
Go
I wonder
ahead,
if it's this. So, okay, you can correct me here, but I feel like it goes from very set piece to set piece to set piece to set piece. There's no real meshing in between. It doesn't really feel like a world. Everything feels like a stage. You know what I mean? Like you get to the section where she first arrives in Oz, then she meets the Wheelers, and then they move to the castle. Then they do everything that needs to happen in the castle. Then they move to the Gnome Mountain. You know, like it feels very in sections, and maybe that's why the flow feels a little off, or like that feeling of like, all right, this event happens, now the next event happens, instead of a cohesive, flowing story. Maybe that's part of it.
So I have two quick things, or one thing I want to say quick, and then like a parallel to another type of story. So at the end with the Gnome King, it following this path of like, okay, that's a thing that I'm just learning is happening. Like the Gnome King wanted to be more human, and I didn't even realize he was becoming more human with every single time they were getting it wrong until like the last time, and I was like, their costuming sucks suddenly. What? Why did that happen? And then it was like, oh, he's becoming more human.
Exactly. No, it's I love that you said that, because I had the same feeling. Like I was watching, I was like, he looks different. Like, what? Hold on. And I was like,
The makeup doesn't go in the eyes, and I was like,
yes.
and then but yeah, you're totally right. I thought the same thing. I was like, this is kind of getting lamer.
I like the idea of it, and I think they did a pretty decent job of the transition from kind of that claymation face to an actual human. I think the transition was, a good enough flow that maybe that's why when he turned into a real person, it was like, whoa, what the heck? That's really strange, Because if it was in like these stages, we would have recognized it each time he, like, I don't know, absorbed their soul or whatever that he was doing. But
So I've been reading to my oldest some like classic, like, I don't know, fairy tales, I guess. So like The Brave Little Tailor or like Jack the Giant Killer, stuff like that.
yeah.
So The Brave Little Tailor, just using it as an example, kind of feels like this kind of story where it's like he's at home and then someone comes to sell him jam, and then he's like, I'm gonna not eat my jam right now, I'm gonna like go finish sewing this hat. But then he comes back to the jam and there's a bunch of flies on it, so he kills the flies, and then he's like, I'm gonna pretend that I killed 7 people when it was flies, so he wrote it on a belt. And then he goes and like kills a bunch of giants, and then he goes and like tricks a giant, and then he like throws a cheese, and then it's like all these things just kind of keep happening, and the story just keeps going, and in the end he's just like this lying, absolute thieving, false dude that like tricks the king into giving him a princess, and he's like risen above his station as a peasant, and now he's like a royal. And I was like, what? What did I just read? Like, it feels very similar to that. Like, so I guess this is one more reason why, like, I watched this movie and I was like 80% turned off, but then I was like, am I missing something? And then I kept finding all these parallels to like a classic fairy tale structure and stuff like that. And I'm like, maybe I'm the one missing something.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm looking at it through a lens that I should be more educated about, like a structure or like a tradition or something that I'm not aware of. And that's why this movie has more depth, just like Brave Little Tailor has more depth than a surface level reading of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then again, maybe it was just like a production hell movie based on a really disturbing book. Yeah. Who knows? I think that comes to the end of all the things I wanted to rant about on my box and get off my chest. Thank you for coming to my therapy, lowercase t therapy session.
So
I love it.
You told me you were watching part of this with one of your boys, and then they left before a certain scene. What scene did they miss?
So
So Hawkins was watching all the way up to Princess Mombi.
Yeah.
And then it was like she went and like changed her head.
Yeah.
And then I like paused it. It was time for dinner and he left and something like that. And then I like turned it back on later that night and it was the like sneak in and steal the key scene. And I was like, he would have hated that scene. He would have hated it.
You paused
Good
it just
call.
the right moment.
Good call.
I do want to say I freaking loved the first Princess Mombi's like really weird entrance scene. The like
Oh, yeah, the, like-
the mirror room. They walk in. She's playing this weird like
Ukulele.
thing,
Yes.
and like you don't realize that the sound was like on set rather than like just a soundtrack. And so when you see her
Mhm.
playing it, it was like, oh, that's cool. And she's this like crazy beautiful gal there, and she has one of the coolest costumes I have ever seen with the giant like glass spike wings coming off everywhere. I was like, man, I want to have that body type and walk around like that for Halloween. I would absolutely cosplay in that thing.
No, honestly, like the scene that's kind of sticking in my head for some reason is she's trying to get to the Nome King's place, and she's got the wheelers like strapped to this like dog thing, and she's like whipping them like hurry. And then when she gets there, I don't know what it was, it really unsettled me. She walks in there, and then the Nome King's like, you need to bow down to me, and you can hear those like metal spikes coming out of her back like clanging together. That part really, I don't know what it was, but the sound really wigged me out.
Every time I see a scene with the Wheelers, I feel bad for the actor.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't know.
That would be another cool Halloween costume, but
Like,
It'd be
oh my
great.
gosh.
Yeah.
No,
it'd be cool.
no, honestly, like, okay, this movie's strange and it's a total fever dream. I would say actually the only thing that really wigged me out the most was the Wheelers. Like that was the one thing in this whole film that really tripped me out. Everything else I found really interesting. Like, like I said, like the like the Queen, like swapping heads. I found that more interesting than disturbing. But the Wheelers, like, oh my gosh.
I don't know why. Maybe you guys feel the same way, maybe not. But the relationship between like the like henchman rock that like reports to the Nome King.
Yes.
Face was just this sniveling little, just like henchman, like annoying creature who reports. He's like
best animation.
Igor. Yeah,
They
I agree.
captured so much in his little like
his face.
He's just little like flat up against the rock talking to the disembodied Nome King like when he's reporting. I was like, I love this.
Okay, I'm glad I wasn't alone. I was like, I don't know why. I like this little relationship they have. Like they hate each other, but they need each other.
You ready for a little movie connection between this movie and a movie we've watched? So there's a connection between this film and Jungle Book that I found that I really liked. The actor Deep Roy plays the Tin Man in this movie. I was scrolling through the cast and I was like, this is perfect. I love it.
Deep Roy is like he's
I hope
everywhere.
He's
I hope-
literally in every movie.
I hope I see him way more often. I'm really excited for every film from here on out to see if Deep Roy's in it. Let's see. Another just small little thing I found was the room that Dorothy goes into when she first arrives there. They put her in like her patient room. It's room 31, and then the cabinet that has the true head is cabinet 31. I thought that was kind of just a cool little thing there. Yeah, okay, hold on. We haven't called out Dorothy's aunt and uncle, so I'm just gonna do that real quick. This was absolutely insane to me. Okay, so it starts out and it's like, oh, she's like laying in bed and she can't sleep. And then her aunt comes in and is like, you're not sleeping. And my first thought, by the way, was like, well, she wasn't like crying or freaking out, so just leave her be. Like, I don't know why you're coming in here and bothering her. But for them to like be like, okay, we're gonna take out a loan so that we can send her to this doctor to do some electrotherapy. I've also never been out of your sight before, but I'm gonna leave you with these two strange people in this giant ass mansion to receive electroshock therapy, by the way. It was just so bonkers, and then like just so irresponsible. And then the part that really, oh my gosh. No, actually, this is probably the most uncomfortable scene. Like Wheelers right below this. When the lightning hits the house and all the lights turn off, you can hear all the other patients screaming in the background. That just unhinged me. I was like, that is so freaking terrifying.
Ozma called them the other damaged patients.
Dude, I can't even. I can't even. Gosh. This is so insane.
So at the very end,
Oh my gosh.
it's like the building burned down, everyone was saved except the head doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, okay, all of the damaged patients are saved. That's great. Good. And then, like, right after they say that, the constable car drives by and the head nurse is in there, arrested. And it's like, okay, so they found all these damaged patients in the basement. And they're like, well, we got nobody else to arrest. So we're going to arrest the head nurse. Like, what?
After the building, didn't it burn down?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm sure everyone got out just fine. I guess they said it did, but still.
There was one line I thought was funny. The nurse is like looking at Dorothy, and she kind of grabs her by the chin. She's like, "You'll be very attractive one day." That's really funny.
Terrible.
Yeah, she. This was her first. What's her name? Faruka Balza.
Yeah, Dorothy.
Firuza Balk. Yeah, this is her first role that she got in a feature film, and she did okay. It was all right. I think she did everything she needed to, but yeah, it's an interesting film to be asked to act in.
Yeah, I think she did a good job. I will say I think she underreacted to everything in this movie, though. Like, there was moments I'm like, she is way too calm for what is happening right now.
Especially in comparison to Judy Garland, who would have been like, oil can.
Yeah.
What was it also at the very end when she was like, I have to go back to Kansas now? All I thought was like, are you sure you want to go back to Kansas? It was pretty miserable. Like, it was pretty crappy. I'm not going to lie.
I was hoping she would go over and be like, oh, miss you most of all, Scarecrow, even though he was in the movie like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Just keep the meme alive.
Oh my gosh.
The actor with the pumpkin Jack Pumpkinhead, whatever. He is sometimes animated, and then there's other scenes where he has an actor like walking in his suit. Whoever that actor is did amazing. Like, it caught my eye right away, just the way he was shifting his body. And then I found a behind the scenes YouTube video of him explaining like how he came up with the movement. I recommend everyone look it up. It's like brilliant. It's like, how do you think like that? Some people just have this way to contort their body in certain ways, and really interesting.
To add to his performance, I thought the audio design for his character was great. Just the clacking of all the sticks all the time. And I mean, it was just so unsubtle. It was like he's walking down a marble hallway in an echoey, empty, quiet building. And so you just hear, like
Stickman.
They just really did a good job.
Yeah, no, I think this movie, the sound design in the film, I think the sound design was really good, just like you were talking about that part. But like some of the voiceover in this movie was really bad. Like, just like I clocked like 10, 15 times where I'm like, that was a voiceover. Like, that did not match up very well. Like, that didn't line up. Like,
I wanted to point out, I found out in some research there was a potential. I don't know the other. Leo McKern was considered for the Doctor, but Christopher Lloyd was considered for the voice of the Nome King, and I think that would have went well. I mean, I love the voice of the Nome King that they picked, but I think either one would have been pretty cool.
I will say this, the one scene I kind of want to watch over again was the scene where he's sending them in to find their friends that have been transformed into these objects. Because I feel like there's something a little deeper there that I didn't really click, because I was just like, what is going on? And I just kind of
it feels very like ancient Greek mythology or something like that. I don't know, it feels almost like Roman mythology or something like that, like escaping a labyrinth or like getting out of Hades or something like that. Just like impossible odds, and somehow you just like make it because you're a trickster or something like that.
It actually kind of reminded me of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, when they have to go in and find the goblet that's, was Christ's, or whatever. And then that guy, then his face, then he goes super old. It felt kind of like that, like this game amongst, these huge, powerful beings, like trying to make mortals like play this game for their survival or something like that.
So I had a funny moment when I was watching this, and it brought back a memory I had. But a few weeks back, we went to the beach, and we brought. Harrison, I don't know if you've met our dog Birdie, but she's a German short-haired pointer. She's about a year old and she's insane.
Mhm.
She also eats plastic or anything she can get her mouth on. But we brought her to the beach and we played catch all day long. It was really funny. The day after, I'm in the backyard doing what every dog owner does, cleaning up dog crap. And I saw this like log of sand. I was like, oh, that must be Birdie's. And I just remember I like leaned down to like scoop it up and it like disintegrated and like blew away in the wind. And it made me think of when the Wheelers go into the deadly desert. They shrivel up into sand and blow away. I
Oh
was
my
like, oh,
gosh,
yeah.
Fred. That was the most.
That was Birdie's turd. Good times.
That was just Birdie's turd right there.
Thank you for that memory. That's a pretty good one. I'm canonizing that. That is part of this movie now.
Perfect.
Every time you watch it, it'll be like Birdie's poop.
Yeah, dog eats
gosh.
sand.
Okay, let's think. I'm gonna try and think. I think the slimiest scene for me in this film, I think it's got to be the screaming heads and that
Yeah.
whole sequence. I think that one was disturbing enough. It was a great combination of disturbing, uncomfortableness, yet intriguing to me. That her story is the one story that I'm like, I kind of want to know more about her and see how she operates and what all these different identities and different faces and heads she wears. Like how does that work into this world and what does it mean? I would say in terms of rating this film, a little difficult to be honest, because after I finished it, I was at like a 1.5. Like I don't know. I kind of want to watch this again, but I think I'm gonna have to have somebody else.
Hold your hand, yeah.
No, not really hold my hand, but just more like someone else is gonna want to have to watch it, and then I'm gonna be like, sweet, I'll totally join in and watch it with you. I think that's what it's got to be. I don't know if I'll ever sit down and watch this by myself, by my own volition. But if anyone comes over and pushes me over the edge, I'll be like, yeah, let's sit down and watch it.
It's like you want to pass on the evilness
There, yeah.
by showing them a videotape.
Your kids will love it. Yeah.
Gosh, Scott. No, that's what it is. It's just like, this is a film that it's like, I've experienced this. You need to experience this.
Yeah.
And I'll happily sit next to you while you experience it. So yeah, I'm going to put it at 2.5. That's what I'm going to do. 2.5 for me.
So same slimy scene. Obviously. There's a lot of cool scenes. Like we've talked about them all the ones that stuck out for sure. But the Wheelers and the just the first time you see the Wheelers, the Wheelers and then the head scenes are the two slimiest scenes for me, and they've stuck with me forever. I'm gonna put it at a 3 because I think I also had it at like a 2. I finished watching it and was like, but then I'm still really unsure if I'm the one that's missing something. And I want to do a little bit deeper research. And this will probably stick with me as I just keep learning about philosophy and psychology and stuff and, do my Scott thing over the years. But I'll probably go, oh yeah, that's a thing that could explain that. And it'll probably make this movie deeper. A deeper movie that I never want to watch, but I have watched it. And so therefore it's part of my inner lexicon to kind of judge things and bounce things off of. So it's probably a 3, though I'm not sure I'd recommend it other than like, you should see it so that you can see this scene in context. Because just showing someone on YouTube, it's like, yeah, just any random scary movie, but like it's disturbing because of what the movie is.
Yeah.
All of the sanitarium stuff and before it, and whether or not Dorothy's absolutely delusional or whatever, like all of that context makes that scene just more disturbing.
Yeah. I feel like you should do a double feature viewing of this, like paired with like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Just like losing your mind into the world of insanity. Yeah, this was an interesting watch for us. It's funny, like it's not a cool movie. Like there's cool parts, but like when the like Tik-Tok's like swinging his arms around and the Wheelers are running around, they're like squawking like birds. Like I remember my son Cash, he was not into this. He was just like, this sucks. And I was like, yeah, I kind of get it. I get what you mean. But yeah, it's a good watch. It's interesting. I like the mental institution scenes with the coloring and the green and the hallways and just like I like it.
Claustrophobic.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
there's lots of things you can like about this, but yeah, just like the feeling it gives you. Everything to the Wheelers, of course, the costumes, the voices, um, even like the rock animation, like we talked about. But yeah, I think we're kind of all in a line. I'm gonna give it a 3 as well. It's an okay movie. It just seems like muddled, and it's kind of like I feel bad for anyone who like turned this on. They're like, "Oh, it's like Wizard of Oz sequel to it." Like, I love musicals. Like, this would be a fun watch. There's not a single song in this movie, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just I think that's funny. Like the marketing flop of it all, I find hilarious.
No, I will. I think part of the reason it was hard for me to pick a rating for this film was because it is very high and very low. Like the highs are pretty high. Like I said, I love the costuming of this
Yeah,
film
yeah.
like a lot. It's really cool and it feels really real. It's just cool to see actual costumes on people, especially when they're elaborate and strange looking. Like that's so awesome because nowadays they would just CGI the crap out of them, and it's like yeah, that's great and all, but it's really cool to know the fact that TikTok has an actual dude inside of it. That's just a cool thing for them to do. But most the storyline is just a little weak for me, so I think that's why it's hard for me to rate it. But I'm
So
glad we watched. I'm glad we watched it, and I'm excited to talk to other people about it as well when it comes up.
Mhm.
I think the last thing that I want to close out with is I finished watching this and I was just doing my like wander around the house, like thinking about it thing. And I was talking to my wife about it, and I was like, I kind of want to see somebody do like a really good, high quality, grounded version of like a Wizard of Oz show. And it just goes like it's like Frank L. Baum's Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And it's like quality of like Anne with an E or something like that, like really grounded, high quality. And don't go the Wednesday route. Don't go the Alice in Wonderland Tim Burton look. Don't do the wicked over the top flashy cogwheels and stuff. Don't do like City of Tomorrow Wizard of Oz. Do like I know Christopher Nolan's getting like a really bad name on this podcast. But like do like a Christopher Nolan kind of take on it where it's like Batman was all these like over the top funny things from Adam West to Michael Keaton and on and stuff like Batman and Robin with Uma Thurman and stuff like that. Like Batman was all over the place, and then Christopher Nolan just like brought it all the way down to earth and high quality costumes and sets and like conception of it. And I feel like if you could do that with the Wizard of Oz and you marketed it to the like Stranger Things kind of group, like this is a disturbing, weird, like
That would be cool.
Black Mirror, like halfway between Twilight Zone and like Stranger Things or something like that. Like, I feel like you could do a really cool take on Wizard of Oz that nobody's done before that would find a niche audience because it's really dark, but visually not dark.
Mm.
That'd
be cool.
Yeah.
So get it away from this Wicked.
Yeah, get it away from the original Judy Garland film kind of timeline and just do like this is Frank L. Baum's Do It Right. You're not gonna like it, but it's good because of that kind of take.
Okay, sounds good. So we're transitioning. We're going to figure out the next theme for the next month for our next set of movies. We're really excited about it. Let's jump into our picks here.
I'm gonna swap mine. So go ahead and.
Okay.
Sounds good. So I'll start out with my first two. I'm gonna hammer on this till we get it. We're gonna do Don Bluth for one of my choices. He's just a great animator, and I think he's got a great list of movies that I want to watch, especially like Secrets of NIMH. That's the one that I'm like, I really want to watch that. And then the other one I'm gonna do, I swapped a little bit. I was a little wishy-washy on it, but I think I'm gonna go with Revenge. If the main theme of it is revenge, it can fit into it. Think of like Counting Monte Cristo. Brother Bear actually is actually a revenge story. That's true. but yeah, stuff like that. So those are gonna be my two themes.
Okay, mine history. It's very broad. I'm into that. That's my thing. And then my horror. I still want some more horror films to talk about. So those are my two categories.
All right, history and horror. Okay.
I'm not done with the horror genre.
Yeah, we need more.
I'm surprised at how deep horror is. Like, I keep finding myself gravitating towards darker films too. Like, weirdly, I'm not that kind of guy,
Yeah,
but like, they're really interesting to talk about.
they're really fun.
I don't use the same adjectives yet, but I might get there.
I like getting like nervous to watch something. I love that.
The first one for me is practical effects. So The Thing, Brazil, that kind of idea, like just no CGI. Everything is. We've talked a lot about practical effects, but I've just been surprised at what you can do with practical effects, and I want to see how far that limit gets pushed. You know,
I like that.
And then the second one that I'm swapping from what I had written on the list is, I don't know that the name for this genre would be, but like the group of adolescent kids adventure stories. So like Sandlot, The Goonies,
Kids
Super
on a
8,
bike. Yeah.
The Stranger Things, Kids on a Bike.
Yeah.
That's good. Kids on a Bike.
Yeah.
Kids on bikes. I love that. That's
The Lost
perfect.
Boys. You know,
Yeah.
like there's just a lot of cool movies that
Stand by Me. Yeah.
I haven't watched, but I've wanted to, and I just love that nonsense genre of the latchkey kids running around on bikes.
No cell phones, bikes, latchkey. Yeah, we gotta. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Just so no cheating or anything. Okay. Looks like we got. We're doing Don Bluth.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
All right. We'll have to figure out how to do this because it's going to be a little different than what we normally do. Usually we throw like a ton of movies into the pile, and this one is a little more focused in on one person basically. So we'll have to kind of hash out exactly how we want to do it. But I'm excited. I'm excited.
Perfect. More nostalgia.
All right.
Yeah.
Peace and love,
Super.
y'all.
Peace. Have an awesome night.
Love you guys. See you.
Later.
That's a wrap on another episode of Cinema Slime. We hope you enjoyed it. This episode was a production by your hosts, Harrison Jensen, Ren Jensen, and Scott Shepard. Harrison handles the mixing, editing, and production, and Ren, that's me, takes care of the art and design. Want to join the conversation? Let's connect. Find us on Discord for film discussions, movie recommendations, and everything cinema. Be sure to subscribe and leave a comment, and you can also connect with us on social media and show your support on Buy Me a Coffee, and we'll give you a shout out if you'd like. All links can be found in the episode notes.